Good evening, everyone. Great to be back after more than a month that I was away in Eretz Israel, as you know. Baruch Hashem. We're continuing our amazing series, The Psychology of the Mind and the Soul. And we already made 6 lectures in this series so far. And Bezrat Hashem, we're going to continue from where we left last time. I just want to refresh your memory. Last lecture that we gave, we spoke about people that thinks that when a child is behaving with violence, then the right way to approach it is to tell him how wrong he is and how bad he is. And we spoke that kids that younger than 16 years old, they don't really understand all this musar that you give them, the ethics that you preach to them. They're too young to accept it. And even though a person from Bar Mitzvah is already responsible for his actions, but really the musar that you give them settle anywhere between 16 to 18. And the person has self systems that he check himself, and he feels when he does something wrong about this age. Before that, it's very hard for the people, for the kids, to understand and to check themselves and to criticize themselves. And this is where we left last time. We also mentioned, if you remember last lecture, that by constantly speaking negative to the kids, we take away their energy and their desire one day to change. They look at everything as black, and they say, well, since I'm such a loser, and my father or my mother, they constantly tell me how bad I am, how stupid I am, anyway, I have no chance to succeed. So therefore, why would I even try to succeed? If I'm a lost case, let me already do whatever I want. And that's how they convince themselves that since they don't have a chance to ever be righteous, or to ever be successful, or to ever be smart, at least let me enjoy this world. And then from this moment on, they throw everything away, no ethic, no musar, no nothing. This is the conclusion of last lecture. Today, we continue. Some of the kids, as you know, they lie. You come, you ask them if they did something wrong. They don't say, yes, I've done something wrong, I'm sorry, I should have not do it, I know, it will not happen again. Usually it doesn't happen. Unfortunately, when you approach them and you tell them about something, you know they did it, but they lie. It wasn't me, I promise you it wasn't me. Then you begin to give them a speech how horrible it is to be a liar. You're not allowed to lie. The Torah says, midvar sheker tirchak, you should stay away from lies. You understand? So this is usually how it goes. The parent come and attack the kid. The kid tried to defend himself by lying. And then you give them another speech, how horrible it is to be a liar, and when is he going to stop with the lies. So when a kid is lying, what is the right way to address the issue? You have to tell him, right now it's hard for you not to lie. It's hard for you, because you're still a kid. Bezrat Hashem, when you grow up and you will behave like adults, then adults don't lie. You will tell him, I know you're lying. I'm not a fool. You cannot fool me. Right? And so he obviously understands that he does something wrong, but you give him hope for the future. In few years you'll be older and you will know how to speak like adults, because adults don't lie. Or like a tzaddik. Tzaddikim don't lie. So when you speak to them in this way, you reach the same thing. First, they know that they're lying. They know you're not a fool. They know that you know that they're lying. But at the same time, you're giving them hope for the future. I know that one day when you grow up, you won't continue to speak things that are not the truth. So it's actually saying the same criticism, but in a way that you don't put him down and make the situation worse. Some teachers, they scream at the children, stop it, be quiet, you're chutzpah, you have chutzpah, you're arrogant, get out. That's most of the teachers. And that's very, very devastating and destroying the kids. The proper teachers, the way they talk is, I understand it's very hard for you to listen right now. I understand you want to jump. I understand maybe you want to go out, relax a few minutes and come back when you come. Maybe you take a pen and a paper and draw some things and occupy yourself with something you like to do right now to relax. Like this, you don't disturb others. He actually say the same thing, but in a much proper way, in a positive way. So worst comes to worst, he goes out a few minutes and he comes back, or he's gonna play with something. Like this, he doesn't disturb the class and you don't put him down. Be quiet. Sometimes they say worse things than that. You're loser, you're annoying, you're chatzuf, you're arrogant, I can't stand you. You know, words like this, it's mamash killers. Mamash a killer. You should know one thing. There are two sins in the Torah: when a person hits his parents and when a person curses his parents. Which one is worse? Hit, meaning you make them bleed, or black and blue bruises. That's called hit. Not just give him a little smack. It's also obviously a big shame. But death penalty, you get either way. But the death penalty has different levels of death penalty. Stoning is the worst. For cursing the parents, you get a bigger punishment than hitting them. The power of the speech, the words, are sharper sometimes than knives, or definitely than fists. You can get a much bigger punishment because of things that your mouth say. Many of the children, they are destroyed and off the derech because of their teachers. Rabbis, secular teachers, English teacher, science teacher, principals. It's very difficult to blame, because when you 30 years in education and you went through thousands of children and a large portion of them has chutzpah and no derech eretz, and they pick on you and they make fun at you and they call you names and they imitate you, and you know what's happening in schools. I don't have to tell you. Very difficult to have patience, very difficult. And that's why many of these teachers, they already have problems from home, between the wives, with their own children, with their parents, with their roommates, with the lousy salary that they're making. They have personal issues. What could be easier to come to a class in front of 30 kids? What can they do to defend themselves? They shake from the teacher. And he takes all his frustration on them, especially one he doesn't like. Sometimes he just doesn't like him because he's a racist. So he's the one he picks on. Sometimes he doesn't like him because he's really annoying. He disturbs the class, he wants attention, he makes noise, he moves all the time. He's annoying. Some kids are annoying. The Ben Ish Chai say up to 6 years old, the kids are like monkeys. They behave like monkeys. They're not clever like people. I mean, yes, sometimes you find smart kids, you talk to them, they know a lot, but behaving-wise, they jump on tables, they get on, they jump on beds, with shoes, without shoes. Not exactly understand what they're doing. So the teacher takes all his frustration on the kids by telling him all these things I mentioned, is causing them a spiritual scar that sometimes will never be recovered. And later on, unfortunately, if they have some hard times at home, From here, the way to go to drugs and ended up in jail or dead is very, very short. If you only knew what's happening in our communities, you won't believe how many children are dying, how many children are off the derech. Some of the reasons are what I just mentioned. That's why it's mamash like if a person gets you very angry, is very annoyed. Let's say you have a gun with license. Like in Israel, many people walk with guns because of the security situation. So if someone gets you angry, you consider taking the gun and shoot him. You're a teacher. One of the kids annoys you. So what are you going to do? You're thinking, maybe I should just take my gun out and kill him? Usually it doesn't happen, right? I hope so. You know? So you don't really consider killing him because he's annoying. But words is sometimes worse than killing. The damage it makes, it's a permanent damage. It can destroy lives of many people. In chinuch, we have to find ways to motivate the kids to do good things. This is very important in chinuch, for parents and for teachers. Give them a reason to live, give them a reason to grow, give them a reason and hope for better future. Motivate them to move themselves and start moving and doing and investing. Do not confront with them and hurt their personality. Give them some desire in a clever way that they would like to do it and to enjoy from it. You got to be clever, you have to be creative, how to motivate the kids to be successful. I have a friend, his son already finished the Gemara, the Shas 3 times. He's young, he's not even 30 years old. When he was 22, I think he already finished the Shas 3 times, maybe by now more. I asked him, how did you do it? How he learned so much, so many thousands of pages of Gemara. He said to him, I made competitions with him. If you're gonna, by this date, if you're gonna finish this, you're gonna get this prize. I constantly motivated him with prizes and all kinds of things. And it became like a competition between him and his dad. It was very clever to motivate him. You understand? Sometimes kids, they like things that are on the border between positive and negative. Like too much sports, or they want to play electronic games. Things that are definitely more negative than positive. Even though you may find some positive things in it, the problem is too much of that, it's becoming an addiction, then they neglect everything else. They don't want to learn anymore. But if you're clever, since they'll do it anyway, you cannot prevent them, you try to prevent it from their life, they'll do it behind your back. So you create a system that every time they will perform very well in school, every 100 they get, they'll be able to play for an hour. So they earn it. So now they come with pride. I got 100 on this, I got 100 on that, it's 2 hours. And he play basketball on his game. Now remember, one way or the other he's going to play. If not, you're going to fight with him, you destroy him. He's going to rebel completely. So at least you use it as a system when you know he likes it so much that he will like to earn it because it's so important to him to play or to go play with the kids' sport. So at least from that you get him into the learning, to motivate him to do things which are better in school. Or you tell him, if you prepare a nice speech for the table on Shabbat about the Parsha, 5-minute speech, for that I'll give you such and such. Oh, you want this kind of sneakers? It's too much money. Let me take you to Walmart, buy you made in China for $20. No, I don't want it. Don't embarrass me in school. All my friends have nice shoes. I'm not gonna wear this. Listen, I'm not binded by what your rich friends buying. You need sport. You need shoes. Here is shoes. It's good shoes. Well, it's not a brand name. No. Better you don't buy me shoes. All right. You want those shoes? No problem. And the next month you prepare 4 beautiful speeches every Shabbat about the Parsha, this and that, or Gemara. You come to me. You finish this page. I'll test you on the page. If you know it, I'll buy you those shoes. Worth it for you. You cannot give them what they want sometimes. everything they want, you say no, 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 they translate it as my father hates me. Sometimes you have to surrender a little bit to the Yetzer Hara, but you have to know where. Some things, the world will just be destroyed, you cannot surrender, no matter what. Some things, you can be lenient, depend. They'll get out of it. Some big mechanchim, they tell you, if they only do sport, you can live with that. And then he said, I myself used to be in sport a lot. Now I'm a big Rosh Yeshiva. It's not so easy what he says, because the sport in his time, when in the 1960s or 70s, there were no commercial with naked women every 2 minutes, in between one play to another. It was a little bit different television back then. There was no internet, none of those commercials popping up. It's a different world today. But if there's a way to do it in a kosher way, only if there's a way to do it in a kosher way, and to give the Yetzer Hara some food from time to time, and by that you achieve lots of learning and progressing in school, sometimes it's worth it. You sacrifice one little thing to get something very big. There could be, you should know, one of the hardest things for human being is to be criticized. People hate when they are getting criticized. Many times you find people tell you, I don't mind when people criticize me. I don't mind. It's a lie. They mind very much. Every person has ego, some more, some less. The higher it is, the more they hate criticism. That's obvious. If they're very humble, the criticism being accepted with understanding. It doesn't mean they love it. It means they understand it. Okay, not everyone loves what I say. Not everyone will love what I do. Not everyone loves my work. Not everyone likes my painting. Not everyone likes my art. You know, there's criticism, fine. As long as it's been done respectfully, they say. Meaning the ego play a role here. Nobody abuse me, nobody make fun at me, you know, people don't call me names. That's what's important for them. What you see, it's a matter of ego, pride. Because people that are down to earth, they're very humble, they don't care what people say about them. The opposite. One of the greatest things in a person's life is when people actually make fun at him. They call him names, they write things against him, they make up lies about him, he's innocent. All of this saves him in the next world. Because when we come in front of Hashem, and Hashem says, you made this sin, and you made that sin, and you have ego, and you have anger, and lack of patience, and laziness, and here you didn't do enough, and here because of you, look what happened to that person. When you begin to see the list of the problems that you created in your life, you don't know where to hide. Then comes the defense, and say, yes, he did all of that. We cannot deny it here. But look how much he suffered because of what he was doing. Look how many people make fun at him. Look how many people fought him. Look how many people made names. Look how many lies people made about him. Look how much he had to suffer for what he was doing. That takes away all the punishment and gives you even more credit. In the end, that's what's going to save you. That's what's going to save you. The big rabbis, one of them was Rav Shach. He said that the greatest thing that can happen to a person is when the people abuse him in the media. The media back then wasn't so developed. We're talking over 20 years ago. There was no internet like now and things that you have, Facebook. But still, there was newspapers. They used to write articles. Everyone used to buy it. And he said, Mamash was thanking Hashem for people writing articles against him and making up all kinds of fake stories. People that understand the judgment system, the justice system by Hashem, they know that many of the things that you get here and you suffer from, after a while you get used to it, doesn't affect you so much anymore. It can happen even to secular people. Look, someone like the Prime Minister of Israel, Netanyahu. There's not an hour that he doesn't get criticized by at least 1 million people. Non-stop. in the internet, on the news, on the comments, on the television, every channel, on this news, what he lies, what he steals, what he gets gifts, illegal, his wife, what his wife was wearing, his wife, she's like this, she's a witch, she's a thief, she's a moron, he's a thief, he's a crook, he's receiving bribe, he's a faker, he's a liar, he's bringing us to destruction. There's not 1 hour that I don't hear it. If they just turn the internet on, no matter what button they click, their face will be there. They live with that. And if they have to resign now, they'll cry. They want to stay in the power. He wants to stay prime minister. She wants to be the wife of the prime minister, knowing that if they resign, after a month they leave them alone. No one will care about them anymore. No more poison, no more lashon hara, no more abuse, no more shame. Fantastic. You get rid of all of it. Nah, I can care less about it. I got used to it. It still gives them credit. It saves them from a lot of punishment in the next world. That's how it works. But one way or the other, people here, they hate criticism. They hate criticism. It's even sometimes from their subconscious. Even if they try to train themselves, I should ask for criticism. It builds me up. It improves me. It makes me better. The person that criticizes me is my father. He means well. It's my Rabbi. He loves me. So what's wrong? Good. Tell me what's wrong. No. From the subconscious, the person suffers to hear criticism. It creates tension. One of the biggest things that creates tension between people when people meet is that everyone has to defend himself from the other. Reuven and Shimon are meeting. Immediately as they meet, there is a self-defense system that begins to work. Sometimes it's automatically from the subconscious. You don't even realize it. How are you, buddy? What's this? I missed you. How you been? You feel comfortable with him. Without realizing, as soon as you walk in, the system already started to work. Right? Meaning, how do I dress? Everything is okay. How do I sit? How do I talk? What will I say to him? What does he think about me? All this is a defense system. Right? And what he will think about me after the meeting, how successful the results of this meeting would be. While you're sitting, you're constantly on the defense of what can happen, what may happen, what should I say, what will happen if I say this, should I say that, should I not say that, will he get upset, will he get angry, will he criticize me, will he wants to stop to be my friend. Usually people feels up each other when two racists meet. They don't say right away to each other racist jokes about Obama and his wife. Not right away. They see it, they hint. Someone sent me this joke about Obama's wife with an apron, that now she's the maid by the Trump's house. What do you think about that? Oh, cool, I like it. Oh, really? I also like it. I was worried not to send it to you. But then if the other person say, wow, this is shameful, it's racism. What is she hinting? That she deserves to be the maid? I don't like it. You're right? It's not nice. That's how people are. It's all fake. They feel each other. One of the greatest relief when two wicked people meet and they discover that the other one is just as bad as me. Meaning I can feel free to do all my crimes in front of him without worry. When we go out, or when it comes to drugs, or when it comes to women, that's how it goes. People don't feel comfortable next to someone that is too righteous. Don't bring him with us to the club. Why? This guy's too religious for clubs. So what do you care? He's standing on the side. He's not dancing with the girls. It makes me feel bad that he's on the side and say, Moishi, come join us. No, I don't go dance with women. Stay in a corner. Not supposed to go there to begin with. But he already fell going there. But he won't agree to go to the next level. So the ones who are feel guilty. Why you brought this pin in the neck? What is it doing to you? Sitting on the side and drinking Coca-Cola. What's the problem? What is he disturbing you? Doesn't say anything. No, you shouldn't bring him. Well, he's sitting on the side. He's too much of a tzaddik. It annoys them. People get annoyed when someone comes first one every morning to shul. Oof, this guy again. He has to be the first one, always with a talit and tefillin, half an hour before. Or when you come to the mikveh, he's already finished, always before you. Or he's always the first one in the yeshiva to accept Shabbat and be in the shul. It annoys the wicked people. The wicked people also suffer when they see someone succeed in religion. He's better in Torah, he's better in speeches, he's better in many things. It bothers them very much. It's a way of criticism. When you hear someone speaks, even if he does not speak to you at all, he speaks to his friend, and you're just listening, many of the things he said to the friend, you look at that as he's sending missiles to my direction. Obviously, many of the things he said to his friend that he should not do, you yourself doing. Same thing, an adult is very difficult for him to accept criticism. Same thing for the boys, for the kids. How young a person can be that he hates to accept criticism, who knows? How young? From what age it begins to be difficult? What do you think? 6 months?
3.
Yeah.
Almost 6 months, almost 1 year old. From 1 year old, already kids hate to hear criticism. As soon as they begin to understand a word or two here and there, they understand the meaning of your faces, they already suffer. I give you an example. If you tell a little baby, don't touch the chocolate on the table, and obviously his Yetzer Hara say to him, no big deal, take another one. What can happen, right? And he wait until the father is not around. He's only 1 year old. He's already a crook. As he's biting the chocolate, the father showed up. So what is he doing? No, he turns to such a position that from where his father's standing, he won't be able to see that he's eating. So you come to him, Moishi, what have you done? He turns his face to the other side. You come from the other side, Moishi, and turns around. He cannot look at you. 1 year old. He already ate criticism. That's how he defends himself. He runs away. If he could fly out, he would fly out. So you see, from a very young age, people hate criticism. We have to find a way to build such communication between the parents and the children, or the teachers and the children, in such a way that it will not be built on too much criticism. Since people hate to be criticized, we got to find ways to replace it. Use it only when there's no other way around it. Really, there's no other way, fine. So you say it. The criticism has to be positive, that it will be pleasant for the person to hear the demands. For instance, when you have a worker, when you want her to do the job better, you're not happy by the way the receptionist function. You can come and say to her, I'm very sorry, the one who used to work here before, as soon as I hint to her something, she knew everything. By you, I have to explain 10 times and you still do it wrong. Then you kill her, that's it. If she had a little confidence, it's gone. So what do? You first have to tell her, by the way, I know it's a new job, it takes time to learn, don't worry, I have patience. Baruch Hashem, look, you're doing this already great, and you're doing this already great. Many of the customers already like you. I'm sure that your future here will be great. Just one little thing about this, if you don't mind, when it happens, make sure you do this and this and that, if you don't mind. Very difficult for her to get angry after such a beautiful praising. You praise her so much, you give her in the end a little comment, it's no problem. Usually the way to achieve things is first to compliment the person a lot. I'll give you an example. Obama complimented Benjamin Netanyahu a lot. He's a great prime minister. He even made a commercial for him for the election. Yes, before he knew he was going to be the president of the United States. He actually performed in a commercial why Israelis should vote for Bibi. So because of that, Bibi now felt the obligation to say how great is the idea to build a wall between United States to Mexico. Even though he knew the Mexicans will become furious and it create a diplomatic problem, he had to pay back to Trump. After he got so many compliments, my turn now to support his decisions that are being criticized. This is how it goes, right? So when you actually giving a lot of compliments to someone, he owes you. He feels that no matter what you tell him, he's willing to accept. If you only criticize him and bring him negative things, it's not going to work. He may do it now because he has no choice, but believe me, he already is thinking, when will I be able to get rid of this pest? Naturally, the kid is disappointed from himself. When the kid is disappointed from himself, he doesn't want to put efforts to achieve any achievements. That's why he's failing. He hates himself. After he heard so many negative things about him while he was growing up, I'm a loser, I'm foolish, I'm idiot, I'm this, I'm stupid. My father told it to me 5,000 times, my mother another 5,000 times. My rabbi thinks I'm dumb. Everyone around me thinks I'm dumb. So I'm allowed everything I want. Anyway, no one expects from me anything anyway. Then the little Yirat Shamayim he had, he got rid of it. Why? I have nothing to lose already. Then he gives up. It's called Yeush, desperation. The desperation settled deeper and deeper to the point that he already convinced that he has no chance to succeed even when he desperately wants to succeed. Like he go on a test, he failed. Why he failed? Because while he was learning, in his subconscious, he's already so convinced, I have a bad memory, I am so stupid, I cannot really understand this. He already convinced himself there's no chance, that's it. It's very difficult now to succeed. This is the power of words. I give you an example. You can actually talk to your brain every day, a few minutes, and tell the brain whatever you want the brain to do. Don't send me pain to my back. It's false pain. I don't have any problem. You worry for nothing. Stop sending pain. I'm perfectly healthy. I'm young. I'm running. I can carry heavy things. I can bend down. I have no problem. I don't have a problem with the disc, nothing with the nerve. Everything is perfect. Stop sending pain. You have nothing to worry. You talk to your brain like this few weeks, the pain is gone. Why? The brain got the message. The brain is like another captain on a boat that gets orders from base or pilot. Make left, go right, 45 degrees to the left. Whatever he gets, that's what he does. It may take time for the brain to be convinced there's really no danger, but it definitely helps. Also, if you talk to yourself, I can do it. I can do it. I'm smarter than this opponent. I'm going to be a lot better than him. I can do it, I can do it, I can do it. You begin to be convinced that you can do it and you get energy you didn't know you have. It's very interesting how it works. The power of words. So like I said, therefore, if the parent is sending the kid empathy, that he understands him, and I understand that you prefer to play basketball than to prepare for the test. But I know that if you really want, you sit and you learn, you're going to get 100 on a test with no problem. So you don't come, what's wrong with you? You fool! What are you going to play now? You have a test tomorrow. You want to fail on a test? You loser. You have no brain. Now it's the time to play. Huge damage. I know you, Yetzer Hara wants you to play basketball. Perfectly normal. But think about the test. See, 2-3 hours, you learn, you get 100, you celebrate later on for years. You enjoy 1 or 2 hours in a basketball, you fail, messed up all your future. It's worth it. This is the way to talk. Make the kid relax. Have quiet and peace inside from all the tension that he has as it is. Kids has lots of tension, fear. They also fear to be a loser and to be failures. That will give them the right energy and power to work hard and succeed. Many things can be reasons that cause tension and blockage, blocks people from doing things. Therefore, if there are things that blocking you, your power of will is shut off. There's a power of will. It goes from 0 to 100%. It's like a dimmer with a light. You go a little bit light, a little more, until you go to 100%. If it shuts to 0, it's complete darkness. How do you ignite it? How do you increase the power of will? You know, sometimes, first of all, you don't know what caused the power of will of a person, a kid or an adult, to be off. What got to a situation doesn't want to get out of bed, doesn't want to go. Tell them, I found you a great job by my friend. $500 a day, cash. Psh, little kid, 20 years old. You make fortune. 2-3 years you work hard, you'll be a rich guy. I'm on vacation now. That's what the answer. What do you mean you're on vacation? Leave me alone. The job is waiting. I don't care. What's happening here? No power of will. Doesn't care what's going to happen with his future. Only want to lay in bed, play on his computer, watch sport, and watch movies. Millions of Americans are like that, in case you didn't know. So now the parents are helpless. Well, what are we going to do with her or with him? What's going to happen? So, I repeat, there could be many reasons that cause tension, eternal tension, and stop people from doing things. So the power of will is totally shut. And he is not putting any efforts according to his potential. He can have a huge energy and power to succeed, but his power of will is on off. At this time, instead of looking for the reason that caused it, not always we're going to be able to know what's the cause of this, that it shuts off. It will take sometimes way longer to find out the cause, and there's no point of wasting so many weeks or months until we come to the bottom of the problem. So what do? We have to back him up, to relax him, to tell him it doesn't matter. Your marks are not the best. You're going to get accepted into school, fine. You won't get accepted to that school, so you go to a different school. Shtuyot, don't worry about it. Hashem runs the world. He wants you to be rich, you'll be rich with this school, with that school, or with no school at all. You give him example. Look at this guy. Didn't even go to high school. Billionaire. Look at this one. Look at that. Look at... Hashem runs the world. Now, I'm not worried about you. I know you're going to succeed one way or the other. Don't worry about it. You know, but you tell him, but I also know you, and I know that if you're going to work even a little bit hard, you definitely can get very high marks. Now you're beginning to turn off the power of will, to turn on the power of will. I understand you want to play, I understand you want to watch movies, I understand all of that, I'm not judging you. It's Yetzer Hara, everyone has it. Some people overcome this, they succeed. I'm sure if you really try, you can do it. You have the talent, you're smart, A little effort and you're going to see a huge difference. You plant inside him a new power of will system. The other one is off, that's it, dead. Now you're planted inside a new one. It's like making another button. Working much better now. And you give him compliments. Smart boy like you. Or when a kid doesn't get a good mark on a test, I knew it. It's because you don't learn, you play games, you're not serious. You're bringing him even more down. You tell them, a smart guy like you getting 90 on a test, come on, Moishi, what's wrong here? You tell me, what do you think the reason you got 90 instead of 100? For you, like this, you get 100. What went wrong? You say, why? 90 is good. You say, yeah, 90 is good, of course. It's good for other kids, for this kid, for that kid. For you, 90 is not good. You can do a lot better. You want to stay with 90, it's up to you. Easily you can get 100. But why do you think the reason you got 90? Because I didn't answer 2 answers correctly. And why do you think it happened? Usually it never happens. Because I wasn't learning good enough. Exactly. So make sure it doesn't happen again. We have a deal? Yes. You keep his confidence up. Other parents, you know what? I'm going to teach you a lesson. You're not going to learn. You're going to play games. No more this and that for a week. Now you made him frustrated, angry. He's already on the way down. You're ruining his confidence. And you ignite a new power inside him, the rebellions. Now he wants to retaliate. Oh yes, you take away my bike? Oh yes, you're not going to take me with you to the place you promised? Now you ignite something that didn't exist until now. And that's a very big risk. Many kids went off the derech from rebelling. It was all to hurt their parents or the system in general. It's a very big risk. Why taking such a risk when things work 95% good? You may left with 0. The Gaon Mivilna talking about the verse in Proverbs 12, verse 18. This is what it says, Yesh bote kematkerot cherev velashon chachamim marpe. When a person is speaking too strict, it's like swords, like stabbing people with swords. The language of the chachamim, people that are knowledgeable, wise, it's like a medicine. You can achieve with the smart, wise talk to a person sometimes more than with a strict approach that you're putting him down and you're making him lose his confidence. It's becoming like a sword. The Gaon Mivilna explained the difference between 2 different kinds of teacher. 2 different kinds of teacher. One is rebuking the person, but does not teach him how to improve. You're doing this wrong, you should have not done it, it's against the Torah, you're making Hashem very angry, this is the punishment for it. Okay, you got all that. But you don't say a word about this is the way to get out of the problem. You should start doing this, you should learn this, nothing. How to improve, he doesn't say. The other teacher is rebuking the person, but at the same time he teaches him how to fix the problem, giving him hope for a better future. Just to teach the person what he does wrong, that's only half of the job. You must come up with solutions. Okay, you're telling me what I'm doing wrong, I understand. No, how do I fix the problem? You're just telling me half of the things and you leave me like that? Then what good is that? Do I know how to improve myself? Do I know how to get out of this bad habit? No. If you're not going to help, what's the point of rebuking? This is how the Gaon Vilna explained these words of King Solomon in Proverbs. What should we say, what we should not say? How to say and how not to say? In what tone we are allowed to talk, and what way we are not allowed to talk? Who we are allowed to rebuke and who we are not allowed to rebuke? Did you ever sit with yourself and learn these 4 questions? Very important. It's every minute in our life. Before I repeat it, those 4 that we should actually observe it strongly in our brain, I have to admit to this, that to add to this, that when rebuking, I said before, you have to compliment the person a lot before. Because the more you compliment him, you soften him up. And then you soften his resistance. His ego, it's melting. It becomes soft. He receives the rebuke, absorb it, and starting to get convinced. Why? Because he doesn't look at it as a personal attack or an attempt to put him down and to show him how stupid and failure he is. No, the opposite. He realizes that you care. After all, you give him so many compliments, so obviously you like him. So it's not an enemy. It's not someone who tries to put me down. It's actually someone who holds highly of me. Then it's worth it for me to accept an advice for him. It's very interesting how much you can achieve by saying few more sentences. You know? Now, there are 4 issues here that everybody has to learn it. If you don't learn it, how are you going to know? What you're allowed to say, what you're not allowed to say. How to say. Finally, what you're allowed to say, there's ways to say it. If you say it wrongly, that's very bad. You can achieve the opposite results. In what, you know, when a person speaks, there's ways to speak that sometimes it's harsh, sometimes is with empathy. The person, even if you say the same exact words, the tone that you speak make a huge difference. I give you an example. You say to your kid, Aaron, why are you doing it again? That's one way. Aaron, why are you doing it again? Do you understand the difference or no? On the first way, the chance to achieve something from him is almost 0. And even if you will, it's only because he's afraid of you, so it's a temporary achievement. It's false achievement. As soon as he becomes independent, he'll kick you from the window. And sometimes he will end that on purpose, he will do the opposite. Why? Because the way you spoke to him. But if you come to him, why are you doing it again? You can add, sweetie. Right? That changed the whole thing. Oh, I'm sorry, Abba. That won't happen again. I promise, I'm sorry, I forgot. There's a whole different reaction. Who we are allowed to rebuke and who we are not allowed to rebuke. If we know that a person hates rabbis, he's a clown. Wicked clown. Who all he does is make fun at religion and rabbis. And the rabbi knows it. Is it going to help that the rabbi come and tell him why you're breaking Shabbat? It's a waste of time. It will only cause a reaction that will actually make things even worse. It will say more words against, and more anger towards religion, and more curses, and more jokes. Not everyone you're allowed to rebuke. Some people, the Gemara say, better let them eat their poison and die than try to save them. That's what the Gemara say. Actually, the Gemara say it worse than what I say. I should be more precise. You probably thought I exaggerated. No. It's worse than what I say. The Gemara says, I tell you in Hebrew, like this you can check in a dictionary. Al itenu larasha v'yamut. Shove to the mouth of the wicked that he should die. Choke him. Let him eat the poison that he should die. That's what the Gemara says. Al itenu larasha v'yamut. If he's so wicked and make fun and doesn't accept rebuke, shove it into his throat that he should die faster. So there are also two extreme opposites. One hand, you have to give your life to save him and try everything you can do to some wicked people. Why? Maybe they don't know, nobody taught them, they're making all kinds of sins. But if you educate them correctly, they'll change. For those, you have to give all your efforts to save them. It's a huge mitzvah. And some people let them drown. No mitzvah to save them.
What about the mitzvah to love your fellow Jews?
The mitzvah to love your fellow Jews is only those who keep mitzvot. No obligation to love anyone who's mechalel Shabbat. No obligation. You have an obligation to love murderers? If someone go and kill Jews every minute, you have mitzvah to love him? For the stupid people, yes. Someone who's smart, he doesn't love someone like that. So if someone's mechalel Shabbat, it's a bigger sin than you should kill. You should not kill. Bigger sin, bigger punishment. There's no obligation to love them. There's machloket between the rabbis if you even have to respect parents that are not shomer mitzvot. Some gdolei olam say no obligation to respect them whatsoever. Nothing. Meaning his father comes in, he doesn't rise, he can sit in his chair, whatever he wants to do, he can do. The halacha today, we respect them, meaning we don't fight with them, we don't put them down, we give them the proper respect. Even though we know they're not respecting Hashem, we don't collide with them with arguments and attacks and stuff like that. But according to some opinions, there's no obligation to respect parents like this. People don't know the whole picture. They only know what's normal today to do. But when you see the biggest rabbis in the history, that their opinion is that according to the Torah, you don't have to respect your parents if they don't respect Hashem. Because it says in the Torah, kabed et avicha v'et imecha, and what does it say right after that? Ani Hashem. Yeah, and what does it say right after? I'm God. What does it have to do? I'm God. I don't know you, God. I know you, God, already. You told me that 500 times already. Why I need to know now when you told me to respect my parents? Ani Hashem, meaning I'm above them. If they do things against me, you're not allowed to listen to them. Everyone agree that if your parents tell you to do things against Hashem, or against the Torah, or even against Rabbanan, rabbinical laws, you're not allowed to listen to them. The argument is, if they don't tell you to do anything against Hashem, they themselves don't do, but they don't care what you do. If you still have an obligation to respect them or not, some say yes, some say not. We, the tradition, according to Rabbi Yosef Karo, we give respect. Rav Ovadia Yosef say respect. But meaning don't start fights, don't call names, don't speak disrespectfully, especially to many of the parents in today's generation that they themselves don't know anything from their life. They grew up in Russia, communist. Someone told me here from Queens, he said to me, my grandfather, you have to see how he suffers when he sees that so many of the Bukharian boys and girls became religious here. You have to see how much he suffered. What does he know from his life? He grew up in Russian communist. He was a communist. All his life was brainwashed against religion, against God, against stupid religious people. All of a sudden you see almost all his grandchildren becoming religious, one by one. You have to see how much he suffered. Someone like this you have to respect. What does he know from his life? From he was 2 years old, the Russian communists brainwash him. There's no such thing God, there's no such thing religion. It's stupid, we can take care of ourselves. What's communism means? Anti-God, anti-religion. All religions, not only Judaism, everything. They're anti-everything. Someone that grew up like this 40 years. 40 years they feed him poison. Then he comes to America. Over here nobody brainwash him against religion. Freedom of religion. He still cannot make the switch in his mind that they fed me poison for 40 years. It's already settled. That's very difficult to change. So imagine when he sees children becoming more religious, this guy grow beard, she's already wearing dresses, and then his granddaughter doesn't want him to kiss her. All kinds of things that happen. It drives him crazy. He looks at religion as it is, as a crazy thing. And now it's affecting me, my daughter, my son, my children, my grandchildren. They don't know any better. Okay, let's move on. What's to say, what not to say? Sometimes if you say something, it will make things worse. I give you an example. If you have a guest that is not Shomer Shabbat, and he's about to leave the house and he has his glasses in his pocket, if you tell him you're not allowed to walk out with the glasses now on the street, it's Reshut HaRabim, on Shabbat, is he going to listen to you? He needs reading glasses, he needs it. What is he going to do? Say, oh, yeah, I'm not allowed? Okay, keep it, I'll come back Motzei Shabbat all the way to pick it up. It's not Shomer Shabbat. So he doesn't even know it's not allowed to take the glasses out. So if you don't tell him, worse comes to worse, it's an unintentional sin. It's not a death penalty. If you tell him now you're not allowed to go out with his glasses on Shabbat, and you know for sure he's not going to listen, he's not the type to listen. If you know you're a big rabbi and he's out of respect, he's going to take it off, then you can tell him. But if you know you're just his friend, neighbor, someone in the neighborhood, and you know he's not going to listen, better not to say anything. Why? Because now when you say it, he's going to do it on purpose, and then now he deserves execution, stoning. Because now he breaks Shabbat, knowing you're not allowed to take from the private territory into the public territory anything. Even a needle, button, nothing. So now he knows, and he did it. He made it b'mezid. So you have to know when to say and what to say and how to say and who to rebuke. People that hate religion, people that are violent, people that make jokes, clowns, everything they take not serious, you don't have an obligation to rebuke them. Especially when you know it's only going to make things worse. They start with a speech, with jokes, making fun, speaking against Moshe Rabbeinu, speaking against Chazal, speaking against the rabbis, against the Gemara. Better be quiet. You have to know. Sometimes you need experience in life to know who to rebuke, who not to rebuke. The best way today, I tell people, don't go into arguments with anyone. Just hand them CD. Purpose of life, Torah and science. Listen, watch this, you'll be amazed. What's this? Amazing. It shows a lot of scientific things, and then it shows you how the Torah from 3,000 years ago knew all these things. Unbelievable. It's very, very interesting. You will thank me. Words like these make them curious. What is he talking about so much? You know, I told many people who called me to argue with me about the age of the world, the age of the universe, I should say. I told them I can argue with you now for 10 hours, but someone is much better and much more knowledgeable than me. It's an American non-Jewish scientist. I put 2 of his films in my website. After you watch them, you would laugh at all these fools who claim that the world is millions of years old or billions of years old. You would laugh at their nonsense. Watch what the scientists show, you'll be amazed. You'll get the shock of your life. Did I leave him a choice? He's dying already to watch it. Where? Well, after he watched the film, his tongue freeze for a year. He cannot talk from the shock. How he proves over there that the world is only a few thousand years old. And no one so far up to now, from the 1970s until now, no one has an answer to his proofs. No one, no scientist was able to contradict his proof. He has two very good films. One is the young age of the creation of the universe, and one is the fingerprints of the creation. Robert Gentry, American scientist. Very interesting. He shows what the scientists claim and how they discovered it, the methods that they're using, and he shows you that none of it's scientific. It's all baloney. None of it stands according to the terms and the examination of science. It's easy to fool people that are ignorant, that they do not know even the basics in science, and to tell them that this scientist proved, and that scientist proved, and that research proved, when in the end the word proof and what they actually found is completely different. A proof, scientific proof, it means no one can contradict it. 2 plus 2, it's 4. Anybody can contradict it? Nobody can contradict that it's 4. You can try as much as you want, you'll never be able to contradict it. This can be proven in 1 minute. Let's move on. There was something that happened with the Chazon Ish. Chazon Ish was one of the most important rabbis in the last 100 years in the world. Huge, giant Talmid Chacham. Somebody asked the Chazon Ish if to rebuke his children for what they do wrong. What do you think the answer should be? Your children do things that are not proper. Should you rebuke them or no? So the Chazon Ish says, don't rebuke them. And he said to the Chazon Ish, why? There's mitzvah in the Torah to rebuke them. And he said, not in this case. If you will rebuke them, it will only make the things worse. Will make things worse. Not only that, they will hate you after you rebuke them about it. They will create hate between you and them. In a case like this, you're not allowed to rebuke them. If you know it's going to create hate. Kids in this situation, I don't know what was the situation. It was probably something delicate. They are unable to hear rebukes. It will only cause them to hate the one who rebukes them. And Chazon Ish explained that it says in the Torah, Al tochach letz pen isneecha. There are people who are falling in a category of letz. The typical explanation what letz is, it's a clown. Someone that does not take things serious. Someone that makes fun. Someone that makes a joke about everything. Someone that is very light-headed. Or someone like a kid, very young, is not capable of accepting the rebuke. So someone like that, if you actually rebuke them, they will automatically respond by hating you. And therefore, you're actually making a sin. Because the Torah said, don't rebuke this kind of people. You can rebuke an adult with the head on his shoulders that can start a conversation with you, ask, answer, ask questions. Someone that respectfully argue. That's a different story. But someone in the list I mentioned, it's not going to achieve anything. That's why I always say today, don't even get into arguments with anyone. Just watch it, it's amazing. The most amazing thing you ever watch. He will watch, fine. He didn't watch, it's problem, his problem. So, well, you can tell them certain things, but the point is, I don't know exactly what they asked the Chazon Ish about. Probably it was something that he knew that by telling the parent, the children, then it will create hates between them and the parents. So he's saying in this case, it's lifnei ver lo titen michshol. Since they're not going to listen anyway, they're only going to create hate. Once you're not allowed to rebuke about something specific to someone specific, by doing it, you're actually breaking the rule. Breaking the rule. You try to save them, and you create tension and hate. That's why I say to people, many of the Baalei Tshuva that I had over the years, as soon as they become religious and they see the truth, what's their first reaction? Huh? They want to save the whole world, starting with their own parents. So they come home, what kind of parents you are, like goyim, look at this, you're cooking meat and cheese, and it's not kosher, and the meat is not kosher, you're feeding me all these things. And now they begin to be the rabbi of the house. And the parents' life is switching from one side to another. They're afraid to do things, they're afraid to talk, what you're saying, why are you watching this thing? It's very difficult to see your parents committing such horrible sins and to sit still and relax and calm and not say anything about it. Very difficult. It's very big nisayon. But on the other hand, it's just a matter of days, sometimes hours, that a real war would start between the kid and his parents. They never went to a seminar. They never watched the CD. They don't know what you're talking about. They hardly believe in God. You're coming and telling them that this is not allowed and this parsley is full of worms. They think you're crazy. And it's again and again, and every 5 minutes is something new. Very big mistake. Don't say anything. All you have to do is to convince your parents to watch Torah and Science. Really, that's it. I have a great film to show you. No, leave us alone. We're not interested. Watch it with me together. For me, do it for me. Please. 1 hour watch, please. You're crazy, 1 hour? Okay, half an hour. Hoping after half an hour they would like to watch the rest, if they're normal. And that's how you can save them. After they watch it, one guy wrote to me, my mother is in total shock. She regrets she watched it. How dumb people can be. It's like someone who's sick. He didn't know he's sick. So the doctor just told him, I want you to come with me to MRI. No, I don't want MRI. Come to MRI. Let's make sure everything okay. No, I don't want. So she went to MRI and they found a tumor in her brain. That has to be removed in a week, otherwise she died. Oh, I told you I don't want to go to the MRI. This is it. She just found out that there's God, there is Torah, there is life after death, there's a purpose for life, there's reward and punishment. Instead of being happy, wow, I finally came out of my darkness, what happened with her? Oh, I wish I wouldn't know. That I should go to destruction for eternity, it's better. It's amazing how stupid we can be, just amazing. And it's not stupid people, that's the whole point. It can be a doctor, it can be somebody educated, it cannot be a fool. Still talks like that. I wish I wouldn't know. I wish I didn't watch. Why did I listen to you to come to the lecture? Things like that. Chazon Ish has dozens of letters that he wrote to people, and he wrote criticism to guys in yeshiva that used to exchange letters with him. Back in time, there was no emails. 10 seconds, boom, send. 20 seconds, send. 10 seconds, send. No. Send the letter with the Israeli post office. You put it in your bar mitzvah, they get it by the time of your wedding. Finally, he got it. Then he sends it back, you already have 2 kids. It was a different world, you know. Sometimes by the time the question arrives, it's not relevant anymore. It's already an old man already, you know. But today, Baruch Hashem, Hashem had mercy on the world, and everything is 1, 2, 3, boom, boom, boom. In seconds, you can do what you used to do in years. Back then, it was primitive. So he used to exchange letters with the Chazon Ish, and he used to write strong criticism to them. But you never ever saw him speaking in a negative criticism. You're a sinner, you're a liar, you're lazy, you know, you're useless. No words like that, never. Even though the criticism there was very, very hard. For instance, one guy wrote to the Chazon Ish, he's unable to learn and he wants to go to work, to leave yeshiva. The Chazon Ish wrote to him, מאוד נהניתי ממה שכתבת לי. I enjoy very much from what you've written to me on the times that you used to learn, on the days you used to learn good in yeshiva. I enjoyed very much how you described the years you were learning very good. He didn't come directly to the time that he said, now I'm unable to learn anymore. I learned for X amount of years, but now my head is not here. I want to go to work, make money. So the Chazon Ish didn't tell him, shame on you. You want to replace the Torah with few dollars. What kind of a fearing God you are? No. What did he say to him? I enjoyed very much the years that you learned and how you loved it. I would be very happy if you would be able to choose to go back to those days and give your entire life for the learning. I am so sad that you're deciding to leave the learning and you're really losing the real happiness in life. What can I do to help you not to do it? And dozens of letters, you don't ever see the Chazon Ish tell them you're not good, you're failure, you're wicked, shame on you, you're on your way down, nothing like that. There's no negative criticism. It's focusing on the positive that a person did or can do, and while he's talking about the positive that you should do, the person understands that what I'm doing right now is horrible. It's very clever. Many people don't pay attention. They just shoot what's on their mind. He never said to a person that I'm mushchat, you're corrupted, or you're not honest. No. He could say to a person, someone like you with a little efforts can be very honest. You can work on your honesty and become super honest. Meaning, I know right now you're not honest, but I don't have to say it. Why? Because the criticism penetrates, and it affects the person differently when you speak and give him hope and direct him to the positive side than when you tell him how bad he is. The rabbis of Yeshivat Hebron never ever blame a student for anything that happened. They never told him, you chatzuf, you have chutzpah, you're not good, shame on you. The opposite. They cry for the student who failed. And they cry when student failed and they took full responsibility on themselves. Some yeshivot today, they only worry about their reputation. They can care less so much about the students. They only worry about how prestige they are and their reputation and the name of the yeshiva. That's why to begin with, they only take the best guys. They have what you call faher. You have to prepare X amount of pages in a very high level, and it's 500 kids wants to be accepted and they have only room for 50. So they gotta take the top 50. Those who will only learn in the highest level and they're serious and they come to daven and everything is perfect with them. Why? That they can show off what kind of guys we have. It's like similar to the sport today. There's few rich teams in sport, they buy all the good players. So all the good players in the world go to 4, 5 or 6 or 7, I don't know how many teams in the world. And the rest of the teams are 10 levels less, because they don't have hundreds of millions to buy players. So all the good players go to the teams that owns by the Saudi sheikhs. You understand? They have unlimited amount of money, so they buy all the players. So now you have few big teams who worth billions of dollars, and we are the top team in the world, of course. When you pay $1 billion for players, of course you'll be the top in the world. Everyone appreciates a poor team with an anonymous player that achieves something, with a budget that is 5% from the big team. That's an achievement. You take all the best to be in you by your team. So there's some of these yeshivot, they want only the best. There's nothing really to do. They're already trained, they love to learn, they'll be sitting, they're growing, they'll be big rabbis, and we can brag that they all came out of us. If there is a guy that doesn't succeed, they blame him, that he's rotten, he's off the derech, he's mekulkal. is spoiled. By Hebron, this is Rav Hoffman, is describing his day as a young man in yeshiva. Not once I heard that my Rosh Yeshiva, the rabbis, ever were proud of something, about something. If there was a guy that did not succeed, right away they took full responsibility. It's our fault, not his fault. We did something wrong here. My Rosh Yeshiva, Rav Cheskel Sarna Zatzal, cried in my face that he did not give me enough as he should have, as a student. Forgive me, I did not invest enough in you. Once I got engaged, Tashaz, it's 1947. 1947, talking many years ago, right? Almost, 70 years ago? When I got engaged, I committed to Rav Yoshua Yagel Zatzal that I will come to work by his midrashia in Pardes Chana as a counselor, answering questions. After the wedding, I came to visit my Rosh Yeshiva, Rav Cheskel Sarna Zatzal, and he asked me to come to learn in a kollel in yeshiva. Now this is the conversation between Rav Shlomo Hoffman to Rav Cheskel Sarna. Rav Shlomo, I can't. I committed to Rabbi Yoshua. You know, Rav Cheskel thought, I don't want, maybe because of the salary that I'm supposed to get in a midrashia by Rav Yoshua. Because Rav Yoshua used to pay fantastic salary, double than what everywhere else paid. So maybe he thought, I'm going there because I'm a young man, I just got married, I need money. Rav Cheskel told me, I'll pay you exactly what Rav Yoshua will pay you, which was 6 times more than what an average avrech in a kollel was getting. 6 times more. I refused. I said, no. Rav Cheskel say, I'm going to give you the money up front if you worry. You can put it in your bank account a few months in advance. For the future, for 2 years up front, I'm giving you. 6 times more than every other guy here, and for 2 years in advance. So I asked him, because I am doing something wrong, I deserve a prize? Meaning you're trying to convince me to stay in a kollel to come to learn, right? And I'm telling you I'm going to somewhere else. So you are giving me a prize because I'm not as good as those who sit and learn already? Why I deserve a prize? Good question or no? He started to cry. He opened up with massive crying. The Rosh Yeshiva. He said, it's all my fault. If I was investing more in you, if I would take care of you more, you would never leave us. You would come to the kollel. Did you ever see a rabbi like this that blame himself that his student wants to go to a different place? He take full responsibility. I didn't give enough. If I was giving enough to you, you would not leave us. You understand? He took full responsibility. Why did he give him so much money? To fix the mistake he made. At least that's what he thinks he made. Shlomo Hoffman said that he gave him his life. He couldn't give him more. But he felt, maybe I did not invest enough in a student. So he started to cry like the end of the world came. Today, you can kick a student from yeshiva, 2 minutes later drink coffee, smoke his cigarette, and speak to his wife on the phone like nothing happened. A soul was destroyed a minute ago, and the world is as usual. Going on as usual. Mamash crazy, what's happening? One Melamed came to Rav Ben Zion Abba Shaul in Porat Yosef. He said, Rabbi, we must get rid of this student. Rav Ben Zion Abba Shaul told him, how can we throw a student from the yeshiva? I think it's a joke. It's a big responsibility. He's affecting everyone negatively. We got to get rid of him. He's a rotten apple in a basket. It will make everyone else rotten. Rav Ben Zion Abba Shaul told him, no problem, bring a pen and a paper. I want to write something. I want you to sign on it, and then I'm going to get rid of that student. So he brought a piece of paper and he wrote, me, the Melamed, commit, accept on myself that I will be responsible from this moment on, after this student would leave the yeshiva, for all the food he will eat that is not kosher, for all the Lashon Hara is going to speak, for all the Shabbat is going to break, for all the people is going to murder, for all the sins is going to commit. I am accepting on myself full responsibility for that. Sign. And he's out the door. The Melamed looked at him, said, well, Rabbi, you want me to sign such thing? So what do you think will happen in Shamayim, whether you sign or not? That's what they're going to hold you guilty of. You think it's a joke? And of course he did not sign, and I heard that student in the end became a very, very big rabbi. Imagine if he would agree to his pressure and throw him out. Some yeshivot, when they want to get rid of a student that is disturbing them, at least they have the courtesy to find him another yeshiva. They don't throw him. Relax, we're going to find you another good yeshiva over there, maybe you'll do better. It's maybe not in the same level like us, but at least we're going to get you in. Because if we throw you out, no yeshiva will accept you. You know, in the world, there is things that are really lack of justice. For instance, if you're a doctor and they fire you from a hospital, it goes on the record. Your chance to find another job in another hospital is very, very small. It's on the record. How easy it is to get rid of a doctor. He doesn't show up 2 days. He puts someone to replace him and that person messed up, that's it. He can get rid of you. Sometimes they get rid of doctors from jealousy, from arguments with another doctor. They just fire him. Or that he gave the wrong pills to a patient. He works there 10 years, thousands of transactions, everything was fine. One mistake he made, they get rid of him. They write malpractice, something like that. They cannot find a job anywhere. All his medical school, everything went to the garbage. Same thing if they throw you out of a good yeshiva. They throw you out. Now everybody will call to ask why. Some Rosh Yeshiva, they don't tell the whole reason. They say, he was fighting with this, that. Don't worry, if you take him, he may do very well. He's not a criminal, you have nothing to worry. We just didn't get along with him. Some will be convinced to try, some will not. But some say, oh, he made us so many problems. Every day something new with him. We had to get rid of him. That's it, it's a death penalty. Now he's going to be on the street. Next thing in public school, 4 years later he's going to be a drug dealer. And here is another soul and a family went to the garbage. So here you go. Now, I never heard that I ever blame a person or make him feel guilty. Even the hardest things that guys did, they never scream at him and say corrupted, mushchat, or something like that. The opposite. They look at themselves as fully responsible. If they were able to help, very, very fine. If not, they did not blame him. They took full responsibility. Maybe we don't understand you correctly. Maybe we don't have enough expertise, specialty to understand you. They would say, let's switch. You try to help the student and I'm going to help your student because I failed with him. They never say he is the problem. Today, most of the schools, they pass information to the student and that's it. They don't educate him. The way the world became, there's barely education in school. In public school, of course, nothing, no education whatsoever. They don't teach you to be a good person, to respect your parents. They don't talk about these things. They only teach you math, history, Hebrew, English, whatever they teach you, that's it. You come to a class, you're supposed to learn the material, they test you on the material and finished. They can care less what you're going to do with your life. You want to get married, you don't want to get married, you want to be gay, they don't care. Whatever you want to do, it's your business. You hit your father, you spit on your mother, you want to make tattoos, you want to put an earring over here, you want to dress like a homeless with holes in your clothes. They don't care. As long as you respect their rules and don't disturb the system, and you pass whatever you're supposed to learn, they're good with that. And you pay your tuition, whatever. What you want to do in your private life, it's not my problem. You understand? But school, before they pass information, their job is to educate the person and make him a human being. That's the real job of the schools. Better he will be a decent human being with less knowledge than a genius when it comes to knowledge and a monster when it comes to traits. Traits, monster. He knows a lot. What did he do? Put down people, arrogant, chatzuf. I saw one time a guy, beard, hat, all his life religious. He came to a takeout place and he went behind the counter. Why? The owner of the place was a very shy, good person. He couldn't say no to people, and some people took advantage on him. I sent one of my students to work there in a takeout, and I told him, your job is to make sure nobody goes behind the counter. Nobody goes to cut meat. Nobody goes around and take more from the cooking area. They stand like all the customers on the other side of the counter. Whatever you give them, they pay. No one goes around. No matter what, you don't let anyone in, because they became a zoo. Everyone comes, go around, take some more salads. Not to talk about the fact that it's stealing. The fact that the owner is there and is not saying anything, they already assume it's okay. So he was a tough guy, and he did not let them in. All these taking advantage guys. One time I walk into the place and I see my student in the middle of the argument with this religious from birth guy. His beautiful beard and sombrero. No matter what happened, my guy did not let him in. For him it was like a death sentence. You're not going to let me in, take some shawarma from inside? Who are you? Then it got to a point that this religious, yes, started to scream at him, you a dog, in front of everyone. You screaming, getting red, you a dog, you a dog. You this, you that, you Baal Tshuva, you a dog. For a little piece of meat that he wants to steal. Someone like this can ever make it to heaven? I'm asking you. Not in his wildest dreams. That's what I'm trying to scream for 20 years. Will you really think that if you're going to learn a little bit Gemara here and there and know some halachot and dress with all this custom, it's ever going to help you to go to heaven? The opposite. It's going to make your hell much deeper. Because from you with your outfit and your show, you're supposed to represent Hashem in a more respectful and strict way. So if you give such a horrible example on the street, you're actually damaging my religion. More than a secular person that looks like a goy. He is not a direct danger to my religion. Because when he walks in the street, the people around him see him eating pork, they think he's a goy. They see his earrings, they think he's a goy. Nobody even think he's a Jew. Who would ever? It's not a danger. But you, when everyone see how you behave for trying to break the rules, and when someone does not let you, this is how you behave, what kind of a message you send to the teenagers, to the people? So this is an example of how things can get out of control because of bad traits. The midot is the most important thing. Time is running out as usual. Next thing is violence. Hitting children, smacking them with the belt, without the belt, with the hands. Allowed or not allowed? What do you say? Well, in the regime of Obama, it's worse than a murder if you give a little patch to the back of your kid. Already they sentence you like a murderer. I'm asking based on the Torah, allowed to give a patch to a kid or no? What do you think? So King Solomon wrote this famous sentence, Chosech shivto soneh bno. Meaning, if you spoil your kids and never give them any smack, and you're not strict with them, then it's a sign you hate them. If once in a blue moon, not every day, every hour, every once in a while when they really do something bad, you give a smack, that's a sign you love your kid. Some parents today in the religious world, they love this sentence very much.
Spare the rod and spoil the child.
Yes, why? I tell you what. Yeah, well, very nice. So some parents, they love this sentence very much. It's a key to the treasure room for them. Every time they punch their kids non-stop from morning to night, when someone says something, hey, excuse me, don't you think you're abusive? You know, you're killing the kid. What? You know better than King Solomon? They have a good lawyer, King Solomon, the smartest person ever lived. Let's see if they really understand King Solomon or not. When is a person allowed to hit? How much is allowed to hit? For what reason to hit? Let's see. Before a parent gives a smack to a kid, does he stop himself to think maybe it's only gonna make things worse? Maybe it will humiliate the kid? Maybe it will make the kid wants to rebel? Maybe it will make guilty feelings? Maybe the parent hit the kid to get rid of his own guilty feelings. Parents sometimes has a guilty feelings that this kid ended up like that, doing what he just did. So to get rid of his own guilty feeling, he come and smack him. How will a parent use this tool of giving a smack once in a blue moon to actually achieve something, an improvement, if it's bichlal permitted in this generation? So right away I can tell you already, 23 years ago when I started to give lectures, I used to say things, and today I say the opposite of what I said back then when it comes to this. The reason is, it's not because 23 years ago I was mistaken and now I'm fixing my mistakes. No. 23 years ago, the kids of then and the kids of today is a whole totally different story. 23 years ago, before the generation of the internet and the Facebook, and everyone has a smartphone today in their hands, and everyone is free and exchange information, and people become more and more arrogant and selfish and isolated and don't care about anything besides this addiction that they have. That was one thing. If you gave your kid smack, it was enough for him to know, let's not play with fire. Today, the chance that a smack will help today is mamash very, very small, maybe zero. Most of the time, it will make more damage. So the chance that he will help is lower than the chance that he will make more damage. So why taking a risk? It's just not helping. I see myself. Parents that hit their children, usually it ends with disaster. That some of these kids ended up as heroin addicts, or big criminals, or they in jails, or they left religion and they became totally secular, they marry goyim, as strong desire of revenge. Because today it's all about ego. Now you may ask me, wait a minute, You know better than the Rambam? You know better than King Solomon? You know better than Chazal? King Solomon say to hit. Chazal say to smack. The Rambam say to smack once in a while. Why are you coming now? You want to make a new Torah? Are we becoming conservative and reforms? The answer, no, absolutely not. No one is allowed to change one tiny letter from the Torah or from the Gemara or from any other book. There's only one thing. The Gemara say before Mashiach would come, in the last generations, there will be reincarnations of all the worst souls of all the generations will be sent to the world for one final chance. The Gemara say, "Be'ikvata de Mishicha," in the time of Mashiach, close when Mashiach, before he comes, Pnei Ador ke Pnei HaKelev, the face of the generation will be like the face of a dog. The chutzpah would rise to the highest level it's ever been in. The arrogance, the chutzpah. People will have no shame from each other, from their fathers, from their in-laws. This description is only for the final generations, not for 200 years ago or 500 years ago, or the time of the Rambam or the time of the Chazal. Time of the Chazal, if a father gave one smack to a kid, the next time we'll have to do it is a year later. Today, you give him a smack, he may hit you back. Or he will call 911 and get you arrested. Or if he's surrendering to the smack, give it 2-3 years and see how he stab you back in the back. The time will come that you pay for that smack. So you achieve nothing. So what's the point of ego? You want to be the tough guy? You want to break him? Many of them run away from home. You can sleep in the parks for a month. You can sleep in shuls, in cars. You can get arrested.
There is probably another shift, or there is some kind of maybe not smacking, not hitting, but there is a way to make sure that kids don't do something very wrong.
Formula, plenty of,
I'm sure there are other tools.
plenty of regimentation, but plenty of affection equal. If you equalize the affection and regulation, it will work out. But it usually isn't. Parents aren't smart enough to do that, including me.
It's sometimes a lot easier to talk than to do.
Yeah.
I didn't say that to some kids it won't be good. There are still good kids that if you give them one smack here and there, then the effect of that will be very good for years. The risk is too much. There's ways to achieve it without it. I don't say that you're not supposed to be strict and let them do whatever they want. Then they bury you alive. Then of course not. And you have to stick for what you say, and you have to, a word is a word, and you tell them if you're not going to do it, you're not going to get it, and when it happens, you just don't give it to them, and you don't surrender to them. Yes, but violence, it used to be a productive way of education, no longer is effective, no longer. It makes more damage. You have to consider 1,000 times before you smack someone. Usually, by the way, in case you didn't know, even when the Torah allows you to smack a kid, it's only after you're fully relaxed, not in a time of anger. If he broke the table and caused you $2,000 damage, you want to kill him now, because you want to take the full anger on the kid that just made such a horrible damage after you warned him 5 times not to jump on the table, and he just broke it, right? So that's your anger. That's not education. Hitting him now, it's revenge. You want to take your anger on someone. So that's not education. That's against the Torah. That's a sin to hit him. You want to take your anger out on someone, so you kill the kid. The patches that the Torah spoke about is when you're totally calm. I have a friend, he's now moved to Israel over 10 years ago. I saw him one time smacking his kid, but the way he did it, I was so impressed. First of all, he waited an hour until the incident was finished. Then he took him to the room, And he gave him a speech. Do you know how much I suffer now that I have to do what I have to do now? I have to give you the smack. But I'm only giving it to you because, I want you to understand that what you did is very wrong. He gave him a little tiny smack. Nothing, it was just the point. That the kid will feel, my father smacked me. No pain, no nothing. And plus with a speech before, when he was totally calm. And then after he gave him the smack, the kid was so shy, he started to cry. Not because he hurt, from the embarrassment. And the father was crying with him, or at least pretending. That was a very productive ceremony. You may never have to repeat it again. I should have filmed it, I should. Do you understand the idea, So, how can we do it to actually be productive? So the word of King Solomon in Proverbs 19, verse 18-19, this is what he says. Yaser bincha, be strict with your son, ki yesh tikva, ve'el hamito al tisa nafshecha. Be strict with him because there is hope. But don't push to kill him, like to go to such a negative direction. Gedol chema nose onesh, ki im tatzil ve'od tosef. Let's see a little bit translation on this whole verse, because the language of King Solomon is almost like trying to understand Chinese. It's very, very ancient, very complicated words, and without the commentaries, there's no way to understand a verse. So it says like this. First thing, the Gaon Mivilna explained, the only permission to eat is only when you see that it will have hope to correct the situation. If there's no hope, it won't help, or the situation cannot be fixed anymore, that's it, it's gone. The situation cannot be fixed, there's no point of eating. Eating is not for the purpose of revenge. It's for making things better, and if there's no hope, you're not allowed to do it. Here you go. Sometimes, not only you cannot make things better, for sure you'll make it worse, then you don't have permission to eat. אבל לא תמיתהו, אלא תכהו מעט. Don't kill him. A little bit, very little. How many patches? It's halacha. You're not allowed to give too much. How strong they should be. No, that it says me'at me'at, little by little. That it barely hurts bichlal. The rabbi argue, when a father hit the kid too much, more than what he was allowed, is he breaking the rules of the Torah of Pen Tosif? The Torah says you're not allowed to do more or less than the obligation that Hashem gave you. Meaning, Hashem say to put one mezuzah at the door, don't put 5. Hashem say put 4 chapters in a tefillin, you want to add another 4. Make it 8 chapters. Better, no? The more Torah inside the box, the better it is, no? I put the 4 you told me. There are 4 other holy chapters in the Torah, I want to add it. Why not? You make the tefillin pasul. It's not kosher at all. Not allowed to say bracha if you add. If you add an extra word, it's not kosher. Why? Because the Torah say, bal tosif. So if you're supposed to give X amount, if you have a criminal come to the Jewish court and he's supposed to get 39 times with a whip, what happens if you give him 40? You're a criminal. You actually broke the rules of the Torah. Even the 39, you're not allowed to give him if the doctor says a weak person. The doctor have to examine him. You say the maximum you give him is 6. You cannot give him more. What a job this doctor had. Everyone was kissing up to him. See him on the shul. Hi doctor, how are you? Everyone wants to be his friend. Just remember me. One day when I come, they're catching me, it's doing something wrong. See how weak I am? Remember me. I can barely pick up something from the floor. So, maybe it's breaking the rules of the Torah. So Sometimes the parents wants to do a mitzvah of education, which is chinuch, also it's important from the Torah, and at the same time they break the rules of the Torah. Imagine this, you come to eat matzah on Pesach, but this particular matzah that you bake was more than 18 minutes, the dough, and it rised. So the matzah became chametz. You come to do mitzvah of matzah, and you're actually eating chametz. You come to eat leathers on Passover night, you did not check it from worms. You came to do mitzvah, rabbinical mitzvah of eating maror, it's mitzvah de Rabbanan, and you just add a worm which is 6 sins from the Torah. Do you understand what's happening here? And if it's mamash, a lot of worms on the leathers, it can be 400 or 500 sins from the Torah to make one rabbinical mitzvah. So it's like a person who comes and invests $500 to make 25 cents. This is a good businessman or no? It's a fool. You want to do mitzvah de Rabbanan only on a condition that it doesn't cause you to do Isurei D'Oraita. You don't check the letters, better don't eat maror. What do you mean? It's mitzvah to eat maror. You have to clean the letters before. You eat it with the worms, tiny microscopic worms, greens all over, walking, traveling, making a party. Put a piece of letters on a white sheet and come back 3 hours later. See how many green dots you have on the sheet. You don't see it when it's on the letters, it's green. With the magnifying glass, you see. They say hello to you. You know? One person went to a kosher place, supposedly, and they served him in Tel Aviv, full big snail inside the leather salad. Huge snail. You had to see how big it was, bigger than 2 quarters combined. How did it penetrate the salad? You understand? People don't know how much they eat, how many worms they eat every time they eat salad without checking the greens. So, if you see that your anger rising and you cannot hit him a little and weak, better you forgive him totally, don't touch him. You give him 2 hard smacks for his age, you're breaking the rules. It's supposed to be educational. No, a little bit on the hand. No, big deal, it's no pain. If he cries, it's from the embarrassment, not from the pain. It's no child abuse. You give him a little bit, that's enough. What's the idea? What, to make him suffer, to make him feel pain? Physical pain, that's the reason of eating? No. It's the humiliation. It's when you put him in a situation that he's so embarrassed that his father had to give him such a punishment, which it happens once a year. Usually he talks with me, and this time he had to give me a smack on the hand, meaning I crossed the line. That's the message that it sends to the brain. So, it says if you cannot hit him a little bit, or you were too angry, you must forgive him. Why? Because when you're under anger, you cannot control what you're going to do. Right away, 99.9% of the time parents hit their children, it's breaking the rules of the Torah. Today, because it's with anger, it's too painful, and it's too much. And sometimes there's no hope to make things better, so they break all the rules. If none of the above is correct, you're not allowed to touch him. You know, we saw in this parasha that the Egyptians were hitting the frogs. There was one frog, they hit them, it became more, and they hit it again, it became more and more. The more they were hitting them, the more they split and become more and more and more. That's how it became into billions. Billions of frogs. The Stipler asked, I don't understand. If somebody hit a frog and it becomes 2, and he hit another one, it becomes 2, and he hit another one, it becomes more and more, and 10 and 20 and 50. Why are you eating them? You're damaging yourself. More frogs in the house, more noise, jumping all over. The answer is, when you get to a situation of full anger, You do not control your actions and the logic does not work. That's how most of the people kill. Most of the murders, it's not planned murder. It's in a moment of heat and anger, in a gas station, fighting for parking, fighting for a woman, in a bar, pushing, stealing business from each other, moment of anger. It's not cool, planning, wait a month until he arrives to town. Most of the murders is a heat of the moment. And a minute later, the murderer is mentally destroyed. What did I do? What have I done? I messed up my life. Even if he got away and the police doesn't know it's him, he sits at home a week and cry. I killed the person, I killed the person. The anger make a person lose his logic, that's it. It's not him anymore, it's the Satan took over. So they were eating the frogs and became billions, everywhere. All of them, the Egyptians did the same mistake. Did you know that today in Texas, billions of black birds came and attacked Texas, or no? You didn't see? You have to see this video. It's amazing how every week when the Torah speaks about something, Vayako melech chadash b'Mitzrayim, a new king came over and took over Egypt, Donald Trump became president that Shabbat. Now we're talking about the plagues. All Egypt was full of billions of frogs. Hashem sent to Texas billions of red birds that started to attack the people. Everybody was panicking. Today.
Why Texas?
Why Texas? That's a question that you can put in a note in the Western world and send to Hashem. Maybe he will tell you why. Apparently things happen in Texas that we may not know about. We may not know about it. You understand? So it's mamash incredible how many, I'm talking to you literally billions or tens of millions, who knows how many, of birds all over. It's incredible. Mamash, I saw the 20-second film that someone filmed.
One breed?
One huge wave. It said it looked like a terror attack.
One breed of birds?
Yes.
Birds.
No, one, all black, same one. Very interesting.
Mexican go.
Huh?
Let the Mexican go.
You know, so it's very interesting. I'm trying to find it, I can't. Okay, no, I saw it a few hours ago. Someone sent it to me. You know, okay, anyway, you had to see how all the streets, all the air, everything was covered with black birds like crows. Everywhere, attacking people on the street, attacking cars. Hard to believe, mamash like a wave, like, you know, storm, how a hurricane comes, everything black from all over. Unbelievable. Not to talk about noise of shofar every day in a different city in the world. Nobody understands already for a year. All of a sudden you look up to the sky, you hear voices of shofar everywhere, loud siren coming from heaven. Nobody understands. Russia, Ukraine, Israel. There's a video that someone filmed in Jerusalem. Mamash, noises, mamash with the cell phone. Everyone looks up, nobody knows where it comes from. Hard to believe. So, conclusion of all this, everything I said, the Gaon Vilna lived 250 years ago, or even 200 years ago. Back then it was still acceptable to hit kids. Today, first of all, it's against the law of the states, almost everywhere. And even in conservative places, when they still do it, I say to you, from experience of what I've seen, it's not productive anymore. It can make more damage than help. Definitely not if it's in front of people. If you smack your kid in front of his friends, bichlal, it's like a death sentence. You embarrass him in front of people. Today, if you kiss your son in front of his friends, it's a death sentence. If you kiss him in front of his American friends, your father, he kissed you. What happened? If you come to kiss you, if your son play with all the kids, or the mother or the father come, Itzi, come, mwah, mwah, let me give mommy a kiss. In front of all the friends, forget about it. Also, if you call your kids with weird names, even holy names from the Torah today can destroy their life. Do you know if Tel Aviv, if you call your daughter Yocheved, what would happen to you? The girl will be devastated. It's one of the holiest names in the Torah. Yocheved. Nothing is wrong. In Israel, the secular Israeli Tel Aviv, it's an old-fashioned, ancient name. So they make fun of her non-stop. It's like calling your son in America Eugene. What's wrong with Eugene? For me as Israeli, it's a very nice name. Someone told me, you're crazy, Eugene? I call your son Eugene? What's wrong with Eugene? It's the name of a nerd. Go and understand Americans. What makes them decide that this name is good? Is the same thing in Israel. You want to call your daughter names from the Torah that are, some of them are not acceptable anymore in society. So they don't like it so much. Tell a couple from Tel Aviv to call their daughter Rivka. No. Rabbi, come on, give me a modern name. A modern name they want, something modern. Huh?
They call them Emily in Tel Aviv.
Emily, Tom. What's the most common name in Israel, who knows? Everywhere, Muhammad. When you go to a Satmar shul, what's the most common name? Yoeli. Yoeli. Yoeli, Yoel. Rav Yoel Misatmer. The chief rabbi of Satmar was Rav Yoel Misatmer. So everybody called his son after the tzaddik. If you go to Breslev, what's the most common name? Nachman. And what's the second common name? Natan. He's a student. Rabbi Nachman and Rabbi Natan. So if you come to a Breslev shul, you scream, Nachman! You have 1,000 kids, 500 of them scream, what? You scream, Natan! The other 500, what? And if you scream, you want to call the girls, you don't need to ask her what's your name. Every girl over there, her name is Feigi. The mother of Rabbi Nachman. Feiga. Rabbi Nachman ben Feiga. So they all call their daughters Feiga. This is how it goes in certain places. You have one hero, same thing by the Arabs. Every other Arab wants to call at least one of his kids Muhammad, after the prophet, that apparently was not a prophet and didn't even know how to read and write. Most of them don't know that part, that he never gave one prophecy, and even to read and to write he didn't know. But that's off the record. Now, how do you react to children? If you cannot eat anymore, and you have to know not to offend them to a point that they start to rebel. So you have to first know each child. Not every child reacts the same. Each child, you have to check what's good for him and what's not. Some kids, even one smack in a lifetime will not be good for them. So you have to do things that helps to educate the children. For instance, give prizes. Give them respect. People love respect. When you give them respect, they reply with gratitude, huge gratitude. Meaning, if you speak very highly about someone, and 2 years later this person has to comment about you, and he knows you did something wrong, he won't be able to be objective. because he gave him so much honor and compliments and he spoke very highly of him, immediately take your side. Immediately take your side. You understand? Why is it? This is the nature of people. I remember when I was 17 years old, I had an accident. 1 week I was driving, already an accident. So I came to the court. Now I'm in the elevator. One man walking into the elevator. Dark, look, Iraqi Jew. I had no idea who this guy is. But you know, you stand in the elevator and someone walks in. It's a little bit hard not to say hello. I was 17. He walks in. Hi, ma shlomcha? Shalom. I said to the man. And he answered me friendly. Shalom. 2 minutes later, I see he's my judge. You had to see, he was actually the whole trial, he was my lawyer. He wasn't my judge. For instance, you know, I started to speak and I said, oh, my mother has problem with her knees and, you know, I have to drive her to the doctor. You know, I was telling. So he said to me, oh, you know, so you have to take your mother every week, twice a week to the doctors, right? He actually was putting words in my mouth. I understand what it is. I myself have daleket prakim. I have problems in my joints. Do you know why the mother has to suffer? I suggest we give him the license during the daytime, not at night, and we give him 60 days conditional suspension, and he has to go visit the guy that he hit, you know, to make sure he's okay. He found such a funny punishment, and basically let me go. What happened if I would be nasty to him in the elevator? Imagine if he would tell me hello, I say,
2 years in jail.
Go full force against me. Even hello, already it's a bribe. Hello, it's a bribe. Smile, it's a bribe. Smile, it's a bribe. I give you an example. Why they want companies that their salespeople will be pretty women? Why they always choose pretty women? If they see a non-pretty woman, they don't want her to be a saleswoman. They give her excuses. They only want pretty women. Why? Because they know it's a guarantee sale. All the foolish guys, she comes, how are you, Mr. X? Hi, nice to meet you. My name is Christine. Where do I have to sign? He doesn't even read bichlal. That's how it goes. That's a bribe. That's a bribe. That's a bribe. Without realizing it's a bribe. You know, I give you an example. When a person lives with a goya in his home, he knows he's living in a sin. He comes to lecture, he's trying to get out of it. It's very difficult to give him words of rebuke because he's now actually being bribed as we speak. He's receiving bribe. The bribe blinds him. He will find every possible reason that he's not doing something so horrible, while he's still under the influence of the bribe. If you separate him from the bribe even a week, then you will see right away how he talks completely different. When a speaker speaks against those who smoke cigarettes, that it's a big sin from the Torah, there is always going to be few people from the audience who will challenge that. Not one of them will be a non-smoker. All the non-smokers, not with their head, agree 100%, it's damaging his health, it's a sin from the Torah. Always the one who gets angry and fight are the smokers. Well, you're killing me now. Telling me I'm a sinner? What am I doing? Smoking cigarettes here and there? Yeah? ונשמרתם לנפשותיכם. It's written in the Torah, you're not allowed to do anything that damage the body.
So many rabbis are smoking.
They're breaking the rules of the Torah. Rabbis sometimes also speak Lashon Hara. You saw those few rabbis who wrote against me? One of them is bringing a Christian missionary into his shul in Boca Raton, Goldberg. He signed a letter against me, Ephraim Goldberg, bringing the number one Christian missionary who hunt Jewish souls and destroy them. He brings them as a guest of honor into his shul in Boca Raton. Now you understand which rabbi ran to sign against rabbis that give their life to save souls? Check who they are. Nothing is coincidence. Someone that is able to sign against someone who go and save Jews, even if he hates him, even if he did something personal to him, but is able to sign and prevent his actions from saving souls, that shows that this person is not kosher. You check more and more and more, and you dig, and you see that something is not right. It cannot be. If you have a doctor who saved thousands of soldiers in a war, doctor, you hate him, you're able to stop him from his work? If you lock him in a cage and soldiers are dying, what does it show about you? The answer is clear. So there's big demonstration now all over. People waking up. They want to put him on a ban. That's what he deserves. A ban is a gift for him. He deserves a lot worse punishment than that. If today there was Sanhedrin, there would be definitely execution. Mediach la'avodah zara. Execution for the Christian and for the one who helps him. Someone who influenced Jews to follow idols or idol-worshipping religion, or even makes a connection between Jews to an idol-worshipper preacher, even if the preacher won't speak today about Christianity, about different topic, about math, about sport, about who knows what. But the fact that the audience makes connection with the speaker and they come after the lecture and shake his hand and he gives his business cards and he may have CDs and books and they go online and they begin to listen to other of his speeches, it's enough that one of them become Christian and this person will have to pay for him and his children and grandchildren until the end of time. Someone that is God-fearing, will dare to bring a Christian missionary that is all over YouTube hunting Jews. He have a seminar to teach Christians how to become missionaries. Do you understand who we're talking about? The rabbis of the students that hunt Jewish souls is invited to his synagogue in Boca Raton. I cannot go there. I'm a Hitler. I'm not allowed to speak to the Jews to make them Shomrei Shabbat, to stop with their stealing and their all kinds of crimes that they commit. Someone like me that speak and tell the truth of the Torah, it's not good for them. But this missionary who believes in JC, that he's the God, and everyone should worship him, and all the people who worship him has no share to the world to come, he is a guest of honor. He gives his life to bring him in. All the rabbis already started to write letters, the Beit Din, he wrote a letter, everything is fully committed to this idol worshipper to come. Do you understand what kind of rabbis we have today in our world? This rotten, he considers himself a rabbi. I consider him as the biggest enemy of the Jewish nation, the biggest threat. Why? He calls himself modern Orthodox rabbi. Is much more dangerous than Reform rabbis, gay rabbis who marry men. Why? When you have a Reform rabbi, everybody normal knows to be careful from him. There's nothing to do with religion. It's not even religious. But someone that some of the community thinks is a real rabbi, he comes, he teaches about Parashat HaShavua, he walks with the yarmulke, perhaps a tzitzit, and people think he's a rabbi, he's an Orthodox rabbi, and he does such things. The danger is million times worse because no one knows to be careful from such an enemy. That's the problem. And that's why half of his community are asleep. They don't even care. Someone told me he wrote letter to many of his communities. Do you know what was their reaction? What was the reaction?
They don't even know him.
They worry about the Super Bowl. Super Bowl is coming right now. That's what's on their mind. That's the chatting over there. Nobody even cares bichlal. That's how sad the situation of some of these modern communities are. They hate to hear it when I say it. I can care less what they feel. I only care what Hashem wants. And Hashem said, that's the truth, and you are living against the truth. And I always say the same thing. The more education, secular education, the less religion. That's it. That's a rule. You can argue, you can debate it. The more secular educated people there are, educated people, the less religion you find in a place. Sad as it is, there's no other way to explain it. The more people are brainwashed by the secular institutions, they become lawyers and doctors and judges and who knows what, the less love they have to Hashem, the less they keep Torah and mitzvot. That's how you should know it.
Unless they study in Yeshiva University.
It's also a university. It's not as bad as other universities, but it's still a university, and many corrupted people came from there. Many. Some of them signed that letter. They have a degree from that university. Anyway, I want to conclude. Be'ezrat Hashem, we concluded now the chapter 7 of this series. We spoke about healing and all these things when it comes to children and building their confidence. Next week, Be'ezrat Hashem, we're going to speak about some very interesting things. Some of the advices from Rav Elyashiv, the difference between a man to an angel, the foundations of conscience, many of very interesting things with some interesting comments of the greatest rabbis ever lived. Next Monday, 8 o'clock. Baruch Adonai Leolam, Amen ve'amen.